The good, the bad, and the odd. They're sorted.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd with your hosts, Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello there.
Right, so this was our free choice, my choice, and I picked mainly because Cobra Kai has just started a new season, and so it's in the atmosphere, as it were. I picked the original Karate Kid, 1984. That was my choice. But first, we'll do a bit of a comfy chair. Shall I start? Do you want to start?
Yeah, you start.
Okay. My first one's a bit odd, really. It is bad, but it is good as well. But I wouldn't put it in our warehouse of classic good, bad, and odd. It is Plan 9 from Outer Space. I've rewatched this.
Okay.
I've watched this many, many times, mainly because...
This is like legendarily bad, right?
Yeah, it was voted the worst film ever made. I've watched it many times, mainly because I actually did used to own a Super 8 print of it. And used to watch it quite a lot from that. Because Super 8, it was way more expensive than, say, Blu-rays and stuff, right? Way, way more expensive. So when you got a copy, you tended to watch it over and over again. Anyway, so I've watched it many, many times. And I've felt in the mood to watch it again. Yeah, you're right. It was voted as the worst film ever made by a sort of polled list in the, I think, late 70s. But I've always felt that was a completely wrong title. And the reason is, it isn't the worst film ever made. I've seen many, many much worse films. The main reason it isn't the worst film I've ever made is it's not boring. It's kind of fun and interesting. And, it's cheap and the dialogue's quite atrocious, but it's kind of fun to quote and stuff like that. And it's got some quite subversive stuff in it. It sort of, part of the elements are... the government are covering up the fact that they're in contact with aliens, things like that, right? Which then fed into things like the X-Files and all that game, right? When conspiracy theories and that used to be fun, instead of like the complete headache they are now. I have to laugh because in the final seasons of the X-Files, when in Mulder, the arch. Conspiracy theorist when it comes to UFOs and government and stuff like that, when he encounters some sort of more modern conspiracy theorists and he listens to them and he's like, I'm out, I can't do this anymore, this is too stupid. Anyway, I've kind of got the sidetrack. Yeah, it's a fun film. It was Bela Lugosi's last film in that they shot a bit of footage and he died. And they use that footage in it and kind of have a completely different looking man as him as a reanimated corpse who was about a foot taller. I think he was the dentist of Edward, was the guy that took over from him. But they got all sorts of other interesting. They got Vampira, they got Tor Johnson, the great big bald wrestler. Who's Swedish, got a super thick Swedish accent, so when he's doing dialogue you can barely understand what he's talking about, and stuff like that. And there's some comedy cops, and basically the aliens are reanimating the dead as a possible way of taking over the earth, but they've only managed to do 2 people, and they didn't get any further than that, and it escalates, and UFOs get seen, and essentially the UFOs are, I think they were like paper plates sprayed silver with paint and then set alight to give an effect. That's the level of effects we're talking. But yeah, no, it's definitely not the worst film ever made. You and I have probably seen the worst film this week. I'm not particularly pointing any fingers, and I don't know I can't remember what we watched. But honestly, you see worse films than this weekly, if not monthly. Yeah, so it was all right. Yeah. I quite enjoyed it. Anyway, to you now.
So my first one is a book I'm listening to in audiobook form. I'm still working my way through it. It's called The Fall of Cadia. It's another 40k book. 40,000 book. It's written by Robert Rath. And it details the fall of the fortress planet Cadia, which was the main defense against basically a portal to hell.
Okay.
And it's really quite interesting because it does a lot of real impressive world building through some perspective shifts all throughout the first few chapters. You get frontline soldiers green soldiers that have like not been out to a fight, and they're like really eager to get into a fight, and they keep getting annoyed when they keep getting pulled back.
Okay.
Just average civilians, some traitors in the ranks.
Yeah.
A couple of times it cuts to Space Marines who are 10 foot tall, like genetically engineered super soldiers, and we very frequently come back to the. I can't remember his proper title, but his name's Ussachar Creed. He's the guy in charge of the military on the Fortress planet. And it's just it's the planet's ongoing attempts to survive the 13th Black Crusade.
Okay.
Now, it is a very fun book. Like, it's really interesting. The problem is, I recommend getting it in a physical format, because the audiobook, the narrator... all of the Cadians, the actual residents of the planet, are Geordies.
Right.
A couple of the Space Marines sound like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Okay.
It's really like throws you off when he's just describing something. It's like,
that sounds
the
weird.
Champions of Chaos are coming towards our doorstep, and it's like,
Okay, he's picked British regional accents for different.
Yeah, and I
races
get it. Like, Warhammer is generally a very British sort of like setting, but in all other mediums, the Cadians have just been Americans because they look like GIs.
Okay, so this is a bit odd. Okay, but are you enjoying the book?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Okay.
I forgot to mention, there's also perspectives from the invaders. You get some stuff with Abaddon, who's in charge of the Black Crusade. He's the marshal.
Yeah.
And various like agents of his, but yeah, it's a really good book. I recommend reading it, not listening to it. So,
okay, right, okay. My next one is a BBC comedy, which I kept hearing good things about, and I thought, well, let's give it a go, right? So I started watching it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's called The Detectorists. Have you heard of this one?
No.
Okay, it came on to... It's BBC 4, so it's very low in terms of visibility. You know, it's on iPlayer only, things like that. But I think it's their most successful show overall. It started in 2014 and went for 3 seasons, spread out quite a bit, particularly the final episode, which was like a special. It ran from sort of 2014 to 2020. The main stars are Mackenzie Crook, who was also the most creative element. You know, he kind of generated the show, as it were. Mackenzie Crook's probably best known as Gareth from The Office. Like Mackenzie Crook, you know, the Wally from The Office. But he's done the more recent Wuzzle Gummidge, which I've not seen an episode of. I don't know what it's like. But and Toby Jones is the other main, but there's lots of people in it. You know, it's what do they call it? An ensemble comedy, right? And essentially, they're metal detectors. They live in a small town in Suffolk, or actually, it says on Wikipedia North Essex, but I always felt it was Suffolk. But you know, they're next to each other. It's as close as you can get. In a fictional town of Danebury, and they basically go out metal detecting. And you know, they have interactions with other groups. They have interactions with archaeologists who kind of look down on metal detectorists. And they're always insistent. They're called, and they say, "Are you the metal detectors?" No, we go, "We're the detectorists," right? And then they're kind of digging up things, and they're constantly finding right old rubbish. But some of the stuff they keep because they can still sell it on eBay. People want, you know, I don't know, a 2010 ring pull of a tab. You know, the drink tab, things like that, right? They're always doing things like that. It's won BAFTAs as well, this, right? And it's got voted 19th in a list of Britain's 20 favourite sitcoms. So it is kind of pretty good. It's a very gentle comedy. It's like a comedy drama, but it is funny. And it really grows, like the really good ensemble comedies, it grows on you because you get to like the characters, you know? And it's these two, they're two friends, but it's their like loves and, you know, lives and stuff like that. And they have some ridiculous conversations they're always obsessed with finding gold. They want to find Saxon gold, and they have conversations such as, "Oh, finding Saxon gold, it's the holy grail of metal detecting," and the other one goes, "No, the holy grail is the holy grail of metal." And then the other one goes, "No, the Ark of the Covenant is the." Like, they have these weird conversations like this. It's very good. It's very good, and it's well acted, well written. Quite easy going. It's a really relaxing. It's almost like the comedy equivalent of a very sitting by a gentle stream and just letting life wash over you. That is that kind of comedy. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I kind of went through it very quickly, and I'm happy to rewatch it again and I will in the near future. I think it's only 20 episodes in all. And they're only half an hour. Apart from, there's a couple of Christmas specials, which are more like 45 minutes. In fact, I think the very last one's more like an hour and 15. It's quite long. They have a big discovery, and there's stuff around that. And I just really enjoyed it. I would thoroughly recommend it. And as I say, it's on the iPlayer. So yeah, that's mine. My number 2, my last one as well.
Yeah, now my other one is I've been replaying Dragon Age Inquisition. Now this is set in the 3, soon to be 4 games of the Dragon Age universe. This is a sequels to Dragon Age Origins and 2, and it follows the adventures of your player character, the Inquisitor, or the Herald of Andraste, who basically accidentally steps out of a hole in reality, and all the other characters are just panicking, wondering what the hell happened there, because you also happen to blow up to be there at the explosion of what is essentially a meeting between, I'm not going to get inflammatory. It's a meeting between mages who have been very much a suppressed underclass and Templars who are their policemen. Specifically designed to police the mages.
Okay.
And part of the backstory, there was a whole rebellion. So that finally came to a peace agreement. And at the peace agreement, massive explosion, your player character steps out of a portal from another reality, and so you're kind of going on from there. It's a very fun game. It's an open world hack and slash. Would be the best way to describe it. It's like you hack and slash, and then there's you cast your spells or use your abilities, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's an otherwise very fun game. Very good characters. Lots of really good writing in this game. I highly recommend the whole franchise, really.
Yeah, I've only played the first one. It was a long time ago, but I really enjoyed it, I have to say.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice world. It's a nice a nice pace as well, these games.
Yeah.
I found. Right. Okay. Cool. And that's on PC, right? Well, it's usually.
I've been playing it on PlayStation 5. But it's available on PC. It's available on most consoles. I don't think it's available on Switch. I think that's the only limit.
Okay. Right. Okay, let's get on with our main film, The Karate Kid. My choice from 1984. As I say, I was kind of wanted to start rewatching this because I actually want to watch Cobra Kai again, is the fact of it. And I find that watching the first 3 films really sets you up really well because Cobra Kai really references these films heavily. And also, they're really good. I think they're really good films. 1 and 2 are just good films, and 3 is just a mad 80s thing that's super entertaining. And it is a good film, but it's not good in the same way. And in many respects, it mirrors the Rocky franchise, which we're going to talk about, I'm sure. The reason is it was directed by John G. Avildsen, who directed Rocky. And you could tell, can't you? You could tell. I know, as we were watching it.
Yeah, because Ralph Macchio just acts like Rocky for the first. Whenever he's
a bit
not,
less punchy, but
whenever he's not whinging, he's just kind of acting like, "Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you're doing okay. We're okay. You're okay." All that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. There's all that. Also, Ralph Macchio is obviously Daniel LaRusso. Pat Morita is Mr. Miyagi. Elizabeth Shue is I forgot her name. Ali, right? And then William Zabka is Johnny Lawrence. And then we got, I can't remember his name, but the guy that plays Kreese as well. It's basically a lad and his mum from New Jersey move out to California because of her. She needs to for her job. And they've moved to Reseda in Los Angeles. And then, shit gets real, really.
Yeah.
So we see that they're a bit down and out. They've got a busted up car. They basically have to push start it every time they start.
Literally every time they start it.
Across. There's a lot of music in this, lots of 80s music, and sort of not montages, but scenes overlaid with music where you're not hearing the dialogue, you're just seeing the actions. And I'm not sure if I want to go into the plot too much. I guess we could go scene by scene. Everyone kind of knows it, I think.
Yeah.
What did you like and what didn't you like about it?
I liked absolutely the character development because honestly, they're all kind of douchebags at the start. Aside from some moments with Danny, where he's like feeding, getting a dog some water. But otherwise, he's kind of just a standoffish jackass.
Do you think? I think he's a bit better than that. He just has his moments where he gets defensive and just
very
gets a bit
surly about everything.
Surly, surly. I have to say, I think the MVP in this is Mr. Miyagi. Actually, Pat Morita's Mr. Miyagi. He's so good. I mean, he's ridiculously good. He really makes the film, gives it a centre and a core. And I have to say, I think the performances are pretty good. I think Ralph Macchio's doing Daniel LaRusso in the way he's meant to, right? In my opinion. And that kind of works. And I think Elizabeth Shue as Ali's really good, actually. We were a bit concerned, weren't we? Because I think they both look quite young, but we knew that Daniel LaRusso...
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph
Macchio was 21.
21. And Elizabeth Shue looked quite young.
She looks young.
And they have kissing scenes. And
she turns out to be the same age as him.
Same age. So that was all right. No, it was the film debut of Elizabeth Shue, and she's gone on to have a really good career. I believe she's an Oscar winner. I could be wrong. But she's certainly turned up recently in both Cobra Kai and The Boys. She was significant in The Boys. And she's had some absolute powerhouse performances in movies through the years. There's one called a really depressing one with Nick Cage. I think it's called Leaving Las Vegas, I think it is, where he's basically drinking himself to death. It's really grim. She's in that, and she's terrific in that. William Zabka is Johnny Lawrence. He's decent. He's pretty good in this. He did have so much of a career, but he has turned up in Cobra Kai, and he's excellent in Cobra Kai. So it's kind of interesting. But it's interesting to see these New Jersey sort of Italian family transplanted to California where everyone's blonde. And,
literally every person is blonde.
And the mum and Danny and his mum make jokes about her. Is she blonde? Yeah, everyone's blonde. There's so many blondes. Yeah. And I have to say, I like the introduction of Mr. Miyagi because he's kind of stroppy, isn't he? He's kind of our faucet's broken. Hey, when he comes to fix it, after what? He goes, basically he's not in a rush to come fix it. But,
he's just kind of ignoring him. And as soon as Danny steps into his room, he just turns around and looks at him. And he just steps backwards.
Yeah. I'm just trying to... Apparently it's sort of drawn on the real life story of a boy that moved and became... I don't know. It doesn't give many details here, but apparently it's based on some sort of reality. This is Macchio's second major film role. Apparently he was... Before this, he was in a film called The Outsiders, which I've not seen, which I think might be Coppola. I could be wrong. I think that might be... Yeah, it is. Francis Ford Coppola. It did well in the box office. Critically, it did well. Everyone kind of liked it. It turned out to be one of the highest grossing films in '84, unexpectedly. And Pat Morita was really only known for playing Arnold in Happy Days before this, or in sort of minor comedy roles, He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which I think is very fair, actually.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah. And it also made karate much more popular in the US. It sort of, it had an initial popularity in the early 70s with Bruce Lee. Yeah. But then this kind of revitalized, especially among youngsters, I imagine. So, yeah. So poor old Danny, they do arrive. He's not happy about being there, but
No,
there's a guy
he's
there
clearly
who is
upset
very
already.
friendly. He's very friendly, sort of invites him to a beach party and sort of gets on with him. And you think this guy's going to be a major character, but he's not really.
No,
is
he disappears.
well, when Danny gets beat up the first time, his friends are going, what'd you bring this loser with us for? And then we don't see him again, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the beach party, him and Ali start making eyes at each other, don't they? They kind of like each other at first look, and they talk, and they like each other from talking. But then Johnny Lawrence and his mates turn up on motorbikes and start being a douchebag, right? And unfortunately, he's a black belt in Cobra Kai, and he kicks the shit out of Danny pretty much, right? Straight away, embarrasses him. The guys he was with just leave him alone. Ali's feeling bad for him, and he's like, leave me alone, I'm okay, I'm fine. It's all that business. Because it does seem that he's constantly stroppy with her, doesn't it? And she's a perfectly nice person. This is... But she obviously likes him, because she don't just say, oh, well, piss off then. Is it? It kind of goes on. And then when Mr. Miyagi comes and fixes the faucet, he also, at one point, the gang on their motorbikes ride Danny off the road, don't they, down an embankment, and he smashes his eye in. He's constantly getting his eye smashed in, and he blames his bike every time. But the first time, he actually got beaten up, right? So his mum doesn't know. And he throws the bike in the trash. He's so annoyed. He just throws the bike in the trash. But then Mr. Miyagi digs it out and does it out for him, and he's really...
What?
Say again?
He fixes it all up.
Yeah, fixes it all up. And so Johnny's got his little gang. I can't remember all the names, but there's Dutch. I can't remember any others, but they're a right bunch of douchebags. That's for sure.
So there's Dutch, there's Donnie. What's his name?
I've got a list here. Bobby, Tommy, Jimmy, and Dutch. Yeah. And they keep picking on him, right? And Ali kind of knows about it. But there's a fancy dress thing for Halloween, is it? Yeah. And he's not going. And Mr. Miyagi goes, "Would you go if you had an outfit?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
he tries to sort of brush it off as like, "Oh, I don't even have a costume."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Would you go if you had one?"
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And in this, the little gang, Johnny's little gang, are... Oh, no, we have to say, Danny has also started karate lessons, and he's trying to learn from a book, isn't he? And things like that.
Yeah.
And he turns
they
up
do say that he's done it before.
Yeah.
He used to do it at...
he did a few lessons.
Says the Y.
Yeah, the Y. And he's trying to learn from a book. Mr. Miyagi sort of observes this as he comes in to fix the bullshit, but doesn't say anything. Johnny Lawrence and his gang turn up as skeletons, and this is quite a distinctive look, right?
Yeah, they're all dressed as skeletons, and Johnny's rolling something in the school.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Danny turns up, but he's in a shower curtain with a shower, so it's the scene from Psycho. I don't know, but it's kind of cool because once he gets Ali's in there, Ali's inside. It's the two of them, and no one knows where they are or who it is or any of that. So he actually goes in the toilet and overhears the gang, but they don't know who he is, so they're just talking. And he finds out Johnny's in in one of the stalls. So you want to go ahead? You were saying.
Yeah, so he's rolling something in there. It's not quite clear whether it's it's just a cigarette or something less legal, rather. Danny just kind of puts a hose over the top of the stall and sets it on full and runs. So
the whole gang chase him, and he runs off.
Yeah.
And just before this, he's talking with Ali. He goes, "What comes around goes around," and all the. She says it, I think. He goes, "Yeah, I guess." And as he runs past her, he says, "What comes around goes around." He runs off. He manages to shed the costume there, but they're chasing him, and they catch him and start beating the crap out
for
of him.
about a 5-minute lead. He does terribly here. Like
they're obviously fit.
They catch up to him straight away.
Yeah, and they start to beat him up, but then Mr. Miyagi. Well, we just see a shadow over the fence, don't we? And Mr. Miyagi kicks the crap out of all of them, kicks them in the bollocks, and everything is great. And it helps him
thoroughly trances these very teenage
black belts, right? And he basically Danny wakes up in Miyagi's hut and he's saying, "Oh, what happened? Who was Spider-Man?" Like he doesn't realise who saved him, and then he realises.
Yeah, he's kind of
Miyagi.
chuckling about that. So.
So he asked Miyagi to start teaching him, and Miyagi's like, no. He goes, what you got to do is go talk to go talk. And he goes, yeah, they'll just kill me if I turn up there. And he says, will you come with me? And Miyagi's like, no. But in the end, he kind of persuades him to come. And then Miyagi's a badass because he just walks in and he sort of says, yeah, leave him alone till that competition behind us on the wall, right? 2 months or something. They got. So basically, he's signing up to teach Danny how to beat black belts in 2 months, which is quite an achievement. So John Kreese, the Kreese is the head of Cobra Kai. He's a right dickhead, isn't he?
This man's a psychopath.
He's he's an ex. He's got pictures of him in the Marines from Vietnam.
Yeah, he's not a good person. So.
Yeah. So basically, he asked them, and he says, "I heard you took on my students." He goes, "Well, when it's 1-on-1, that's fair. When it's 5-on-1, it's not. It's like all this." And then basically, Kreese agrees. Yeah, you leave him alone until the contest, and then we'll get. It's all there. So then, but. Danny doesn't tell Ali this, does he? He just mentions, I've sorted it out. He starts acting flash.
He's like, oh, we got an agreement.
Yeah.
Which neither Danny nor Johnny was actually part of. So,
no, they just agree with the adults, but the Kreese has got him under his thumb, though, so, they just agree. But they just, basically, Kreese says, if he doesn't turn up, I'm after him, we're after him and you. So it's like, okay, you're a grown man, dude.
Yeah, I remember it's like wild 80s movies where it's like, we're going to beat you up, dingus, and they proceed to try and commit a federal offence.
Yeah. Anyway, so Danny says, Miyagi says we're going to start the training, but the first day he gets him sanding the floor. Yeah. The second day is, first day is wax on, wax off the cars. Then it's sand on, sand off. Then it's painting the fence. Then it's painting the house, right?
Yeah. It's painting the fence vertically and the house horizontally.
Yeah, after 4 days of this, and I mean, Danny's turning up first thing in the morning until dark, right? In summer. Well, I wouldn't say it's in summer.
It's like autumn, but it's still Halloween, California.
Isn't it? Yeah. So he's there all day doing all that. And then Danny loses the ump after day 4 and he's sort of saying, what's all the, and Miyagi starts taking him through the moves. He goes, look, wax on, wax off. And Danny's like waving his arms around. He goes, no, concentrate. And it's all about concentrate. Yeah. This is the only thing you need to think about. Look at my eyes and all this. And essentially, he demonstrates all of this menial stuff is developing the muscle memory for the moves, right? Yeah. It's very clever.
He quickly demonstrates it by... He's moving pretty quickly. Like, he's not shying away from punching this child.
No. Danny's blocking
Danny's able to block it. So.
Yeah. So they kind of build up a rapport. It's really sweet, actually. Danny and Miyagi have a really good sort of relationship. And at one point, Danny comes around and Miyagi's just drinking, isn't he? Drinking whiskey or something.
He says it's his anniversary.
It's anniversary, and he's really smiling and happy. But then he starts like reciting things from his, yes, sir, and all this. Yeah. And then he kind of mentions he got news about his wife and child. He shows a picture of his pregnant wife. He says
complications. And then he kind of.
They were basically in a certain internment camp, and there were complications. Yeah. And both his wife and the child, his son, died. He's also Danny also finds he's got a Medal of Honor because he fought in Europe. So essentially, we get a few montages of them training. And it's a bit Rocky-ish. Rocky had to chase a chicken. Danny has to try and keep upright in a massive waves.
It's like a riptide.
It's
just it's just
to learn
knocking his ass over.
And while he's doing that, Miyagi is standing on a post doing these
doing like flying kicks.
The crane kicks. And then we do see Danny go see Miyagi, who's still recovering from his drinking bout, and we see Danny go out and start trying to do his own crane kicks, practicing. And at one point he says, you do a crane kick. What I can't remember what he says now. It's the hardest thing. I can't remember. There's also this kind of joke about him trying to catch. Miyagi's constantly trying to catch flies with chopsticks.
Yeah,
and Danny
he says it's like if you can do that, you can do anything.
Do anything. And Danny says, "How many times have you done it?" He goes, "Never done it before." But then Danny has a go and he does it, and Miyagi's like, "Beginner's luck."
Beginner's luck.
I guess that means I can do anything, eh, Mr. Miyagi? Beginner's luck. And they even have a little birthday party for him, don't they? And Miyagi
where he gives him
the robes.
I don't know the proper terminology, like he gives him like a gi.
A gi. But with a pattern sewn into it, and Miyagi says his wife did that.
Yeah, and the first thing he says, which is like a good sort of show of like, this is a good kid. He's like, if you ever want that bit back, just let me know. But straight away, just
I will understand.
Yeah.
So. And Mr. Miyagi says, "I know you understand." Which is sweet, right? It's quite sweet. And then he gives him a car, this brilliant yellow car, absolutely gorgeous car. What a guy, right? What a guy.
And he immediately goes off and tries to use it to try and pick up his
and he's carrying. I have to say, just before, I think they cut some scenes or something, because just then he says,
sorry, we skipped out we skipped out the where he sees his girlfriend basically being assaulted
by Johnny, but it looks like they're kissing from his angle.
He's forcing her to kiss him.
In fact, she gives him a wild slap.
She clocks him after this.
And Danny accidentally runs into a bloke carrying spaghetti and gets covered in spaghetti. And everyone sees it. Everyone sees it. And I can't quite... Yeah, it doesn't quite make sense. Firstly, Dan gets the car and he says, "I've got to go see my mother." And then it doesn't go see his mother at all. He goes to the arcade to see Ali, who's mad at him. And it's really not clear why. Because I feel like there was some...
Like, even if they'd said, like, you just stopped talking to me for, like, a week. Or something like that. Just anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid, but I'd understand that.
It doesn't make sense.
It's just...
It doesn't make sense. But then they kind of make up and start kissing, which is the point where we actually Googled her age, because we weren't entirely comfortable about that. But then it turned out
because it's full, right. Like, it looks like they're locking jaws, not
it's
kissing.
proper full of. But they were both 21, so it's fine.
Yeah.
They're convincing us sort of 17, not so much 16, but 17-year-olds, aren't they? In fact, they are 16 apparently, because he's in next year's under-18 competition, so he must be 16 to be 17 for next. Anyway, it don't really matter. So Danny's in the contest, and they call it Miyagi-Do. And we see all these other quite good fighters, but Cobra Kai are kind of dominating somewhat.
They're using somewhat underhand tactics, going for face punches constantly.
Yeah. Johnny's basically streaming through because he's good enough to just beat his opponents pretty straight. Whereas Danny's kind of doing all right, but he honestly doesn't know the rules or anything.
There's a few times
Ali explains them to him because Miyagi doesn't know the rules either. Because he's never done it before. He goes, "No, I don't fight in contests. I fight for, because I have to." And he also says, "I bet you won loads of fights." And Miyagi's like, "There's always someone better." It's all that kind of thing. Then in the semi, he has to fight, and Danny has to fight another Cobra Kai, who's Bobby, and who's the one who actually said, when they're beating the shit out of Danny, he says, "Is that enough, man?" And they say, "We'll know when he's had enough." And then Mr. Miyagi. So Bobby's not quite. Well, it's weird. Sometimes he's not quite as bad as the others. Then he's a full-on douchebag.
Thing where he's like, "Yeah, kill him,
put him in a body bag." It's so weird. So basically, Kreese says, take him out," and he basically kicks the back of his leg so it puts his knee out of joint, kind of thing. But they put it back in, I guess. But he's really in a bad way after this, Danny. Bobby does it, but he's not happy. He gets himself disqualified doing it, and he's like, "I can beat this guy though," and Kreese is like, "Take him out." but Danny's like, if I quit, they'd have won. You know, what am I showing I can do? Take a beating? It's all this. But old Miyagi's got this special thing with his hands. If Daniel's injured, he can rub his hands and sort of lay hands on and sort of cure it. And he asks him to do it for the knee, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's there, but he's obviously still got a troubled knee. And, you know, they keep back and forth on the points, right? And then he gets a whack to the nose. Johnny gets a whack to the nose and goes, Kreese has to inspect it. And he says, sweep the leg. And Johnny's like... Because he knows that could damage him for life, right? After that kind of thing. And he's not happy about it, is he? But he does...
He's very... He looks... I'm going to say, like, he looks affronted.
Yeah,
like
you would use
like,
that technique in a...
You don't do that, but also, like... like, there's no need to. I can win, so...
Yeah, but old...
Kreese
is like, no mercy, which is part of his trading for Cobra Kai, right? So, yeah, because he manages to floor him and hit him in the back of the head, didn't he? Which gives Johnny a nose, which is kind of cool.
He does
so
like this rolling kick.
And then Johnny, who doesn't like doing it, basically keeps having a go at the leg, doesn't he?
Yeah, he works his leg, which... Yeah, that's probably the best strategy if you want to beat him, but it's gummy.
Yeah. So and then Daniel, he obviously can't even stand on that leg. He takes the crane stance.
Yeah.
And old Miyagi's like, and Johnny goes forward. He kicks him. It looked like he properly kicks him in the face to me. They really choreographed it well. It does.
Yeah.
And I have to say, all of the fighting was really good, wasn't it? I thought.
Yeah.
It looked real, right? It looked real. And he wins. And so it's Rocky!
Yeah.
Adria.
It ends in the thing. Johnny gives Danny the trophy.
Trophy says, you deserve it, man.
Yeah.
And he's apologetic about what he did as well. Yeah. Apparently, one of the screenwriters, Robert Mark Kamen, witnessed, was beaten up by a gang of bullies and began to study martial arts after that in 1964. So he says his first teacher was all about you have to use this for violence, getting back at people. Then he changed to another school of karate, which was much more like Miyagi. And apparently his teacher, get this, his teacher was taught by a master whose name was Miyagi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how about that? It all kind of links up. It makes sense. It does have a ring of authentic about it somewhat, this film, doesn't it? It's kind of... I mean, I don't think you can train in 2 months to beat a black belt. No. It kind of worked because Miyagi was such a good teacher. As a film. It worked as a film.
And this felt arguably like better training like examples than Rocky. Yeah, Rocky, you see the training, but it's like he's punching. You don't see the results of it until the fight.
Yeah,
he demonstrates quite clearly. It's like, he can do this now.
Yeah.
Like he's up on that level.
Yeah, and apparently the director used to get some shit from Stallone, joking, right? That basically he ripped off Rocky.
Yeah.
When he made Karate Kid. Yeah, we see it. Now, it led to two direct sequels, Karate Kid 2 and 3. I think there was another one called something like Karate Kid The Next Generation, where a girl was
the new Karate Kid.
Or something like that. And then there was another one with Will Smith's son, and I can't remember his name, and Jackie Chan, which I've never seen. Apparently, the studio originally wanted Toshiro Mifune to be Mr. Miyagi. How about that? Pat Morita auditioned, but he was rejected because he was associated with comedy roles, right?
Okay.
So apparently then he grew a beard, changed his accent to sound like his own uncle, and that convinced them. How about that? Yeah. That's kind of interesting. I mean, he was terrific. He was terrific in this, actually. Apparently also Ali, get this, Ali, other actresses considered for the role of Ali was Demi Moore and Helen Hunt. How about that? I think Elizabeth Shue was great in this.
Oh
actually.
yeah, she was fine.
Yeah, it was just a solid thing, and now whoever choreographed that fighting was really good as well. And there was also a body double for Mr. Miyagi, who was a karate black belt, who was very similar in stature. We probably was him we saw doing the crane stuff, I reckon, because that looked really good. It was in silhouette; you couldn't quite see him because he was in silhouette.
It was.
with the
I
sun
remember
behind.
reading a thing about this. It was one of the competitors at the tournament was like the double for that.
Oh, okay.
Was he had an odd name. What was it?
Was it Fumio Demura? Because that's what.
No. He basically his name was the same as his name in the film.
Yeah.
Because he did play a character. He played one of the people that Danny beats up.
Okay.
So.
Apparently, the choreographer was called Pat Johnson. He worked with Chuck Norris in various martial arts schools.
Okay.
So, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Californian karate. Says well. And I have to say, the music choices were kind of cool. There was some cheesy 80s stuff, but it was some cool 80s stuff as well. So,
Yeah.
quite liked it. I liked all that stuff. So, quite an enjoyable film all around. Any other points or final thoughts?
Nothing I can think of.
I mean, this was over 2 hours, but it didn't feel slow or draggy at all to me. I always find this film very relaxing and immersive and exciting at the end as well. A bit like Rocky, right? Rocky's got a similar thing. In fact, I feel this is hold your attention even better than Rocky does in many ways. So yeah, I'll get this. There's some people that auditioned for the part of, or were considered part of Danny. Sean Penn, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh wow.
Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, Nicolas Cage. That would have been a different film. Tom Cruise, Eric Stoltz. So Rav Macchio beat all these guys, and he was excellent. Excellent casting. I'd say. Yeah. All right then. So should we get to rating it?
Yeah, certainly.
How would you rate this?
I put this at either an 8 or a 9.
Yeah, I have in the past given it basically an 8, but I'm going to elevate it to a 9. I think it holds the attention really well. I think it's really well acted, really well written, really well choreographed, exciting. I think some of the story doesn't quite match up. We talked about, why is she mad at him? There was no obvious reason. There was that bit right near the end. It was a bit confusing, but you kind of get over it because they do, right? And it's quite exciting, and I think Elizabeth Shue's very likeable in this, and she's actually a bit of a saint to put up with Danny's shit. Actually, sometimes, because he's proper stroppy when it don't go things don't go quite as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed all of this all the way through. All right, then let's wind it up there. I think so. Bye from me.
Bye.